Bad business by United in transfer window. Like, how many transfers actually surprise us? How many years are we going to go through this? What is the clear plan for United? Join us on this week's episode of On the Bench, and we're going to explore this and a whole lot more. Stay tuned. So, as you've seen, as we're starting off this 2021 season, you can see it's been thrown in. United's been thrown in a whole lot of turmoil. Like, I mean, we finished the season so strongly, and we finished with so much hope and anticipation with regards to where United's gonna be situated in the new league. How strong are we gonna be? You know, it's so tempting. It was so tempting for us just to sit back and enjoy and predict that here we go. If we finish on the top 3, we're going to finish in the top 2 because we're moving forward. And at the end of the day, it looks like we again, the flip-flop United that we've become to be since Alex Ferguson left. But nonetheless, guys, welcome to On the Bench with Faizal E. Brooks. To a fresh new season with a couple of new things and a couple of things we're going to chat about. But for this one, it's going to be a bit of a damper, and I hope you guys can just endure it with me, because I think it's something that we need to discuss and we need to put it out there. And in this episode, more than ever, I'm going to ask you guys for your comments. I'm going to ask you guys to like and share and spread this word out, because I feel the more we're going to get it out there and the bigger the noise it's going to be that we're going to make as a community, is the only way we are actually going to move forward as a club and let people take us seriously. There is so many things we're going to be discussing tonight that I'm sure we all share. All these views, all these questions, let's just get it out there, let's get it discussed, and let's share this content so that everybody can participate and comment and give them their views. I mean, not just Evra can do it, everyone can do it. Nonetheless, let's just jump into it. I mean, I think my opening question said it all. Like how many transfers or how many windows are we actually going to enter into where it seems like we don't have a plan? I mean, we saw the last 3 transfer windows going exactly like this one is going, like where we hope and sit and wait in anticipation as the weeks and days and hours and minutes and seconds to the deadline go by, and the targets that we go for, that we as fans know what we're supposed to be getting and who we're supposed to be going after. And it's like United is just going in the other direction. I mean, yes, I have to admit, Bruno Fernandes, they seem to have listened and they went out for him in January last year so that they can save face and start their PR campaign. But nonetheless, before we even get into that, I mean, if we look at their structure and their way of thinking, man, if we as a fan base can't understand what it is they're trying to achieve, it means that, for me, in the background, there is no structure, man. There is no clear vision about what and who we should be going after. I mean, for me, for the fact that we are now discussing people like Ousmane Dembele as a possible backup to Jadon Sancho, it's absolutely pathetic. It's absolutely pathetic. It's absolute hogwash. Like, I mean, we are again buying players based on the name and fame that they made for themselves elsewhere, instead of looking what's actually going to fit Manchester United. What is the necessary move? Even Jadon Sancho, I must be honest, for me, I'm at a point with this transfer and this option of, is it actually the right way to go? And is it the right move for United right now? Yes, by all means, we need a right wing. And I said it last year as well. Yes, we need a right wing. But is it a priority? Was my closing question to the last season's episode. Like, is it a priority? Is signing that right wing as much as a priority as the need for us to buff up our defense, as Crystal Palace and Brighton purely picked out and showed us that our what's supposed to be our starting back line is actually shambles. Like, when we played Crystal Palace, I looked at it and said, you know what? Okay, we got, was it Fosu Mensah? Or I can't remember exactly how. Fosu Mensah maybe on the right. And we had Luke Shaw on the left. And, you know, we played a team that was supposed to be, yes, we know Crystal Palace can beat us, we know that how they play, but for us to play that poorly against them was pathetic, and we knew they were going to do that. And here we again in a position where we can't break down teams, and if you look at the last game of the weekend against Brighton, was the same bloody thing. For us to have such an expensive defensive line that is broken so easily, where people can't make the decision to stand or to put the foot in or to block the guy off or to push him out. That has to be more than just the players getting it wrong in that moment. We have to start looking at it a little bit more deeply. And I'm starting to think, maybe it is there in the training camps and in the coaching that people are not getting it right. Is the instruction or the type of defense we're playing not actually Premier League appropriate? Maybe it's not for the type of players that we have. It's not appropriate for us to be playing the way we're playing. It's crazy doing what we're doing. And if we think we're going to go up in this year trying to compete for top 4 again with this type of defense, you are absolutely crazy. I'm sorry. Here again, it's probably a golden arrow or a broken, I don't know what kind of bus we're going to throw Ole Gunnar Solskjaer under, because all of a sudden it's going to become Ole's can't manage a team because he's been given defense. He's not been given a good defense. And it all comes down to who are the transfers that we're going after, and does it make sense for what we're trying to build at United? If we're going to look at the culture, and if we look at the main statement made by United and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer together, it was, we're going to focus on youth players who want to be at United, players who are going to fit the team that can grow. With that statement, spending 80 million on Harry Maguire is actually hypocritical. It's no way does that make sense. The signing of 50 million, even though in my opinion was maybe 15 million pounds too much for Wan-Bissaka, but still, that I could understand. He's a young man, he's making his name for himself on the right, and he is impactful. And we miss him when he's not there. And in 2 years, he's going to be the best right back in the world. I can guarantee you that. He's going to get over the thing of I'm not sure who to cross the ball to. I can guarantee you, with training, he is going to be the best. But for us to spend 80 million on a defender we must still educate is crazy. At 80 million, that guy must come in here, look left and right and say, listen here, Lindelof, I expect this, this and this and this. And I don't like to do this because I feel that it's unfair, but that is exactly what Van Dijk does and offers Liverpool. That is exactly what Company offered Man City and his companions when he built it. That's what Ferdinand did. That's what Vidic did. That is the culture that United is about. Not spending 80 million on a defender who can't even run back, who can't even decide to put the foot in. A guy who's not speedy, who can't play out to the back and makes elementary mistakes game in and game out. I can guarantee you now, if we're going to leave him out of a game, we will actually find that we sit more solid. Because now the expectation is not Harry Maguire, the 80 million pound signing, is going to be taking care of the defense. You take him out of the equation, we're going to perform better. That's how strongly I feel about that. So for us to go out there and say, you know what, we're going to spend 120 million on Jadon Sancho, for me is stupid. I'd love to have the guy there. I'd like to have a flashy guy there. I'd like to have a flashy guy on the right. But I can almost guarantee you, we can find someone for 80 million. We can find someone for 70 million who's able to fill that position, and we can get someone at the back. But it just comes down to, again, like, what is the instructions given to the scouts? What is the instructions given to the scouts when you're going out there to Europe and within England or wherever across the world? Find me who is the players? Because when we opened the transfer window, the window was opening and we're going to go after Jadon Sancho, and hopefully we're going to get a defensive midfielder and we're going to get a centre back. And the first signing we did was Van der Beek, a central attacking midfielder. Like, I like the guy and I hope he's going to do well. Where the hell does he fit into the plan? I'm sorry, I'm getting so angry when I speak about these things because there is just no plan. It's like we're just going to take who we can, who's willing to come. And then who's willing to come and who are we going to be able to negotiate the price down to? Because that buffoons that is in charge of negotiations, and that buffoons that is in charge of the finance that we call Ed Woodward and the board, they clearly do not understand football. They clearly do not understand the culture of Manchester United, and worst, they don't actually care. That's so sad for me. Because for the longest of times we had Alex Ferguson in charge, that guy wasn't only in charge of everything, but most importantly, when he walked, at every step he took, with every decision he made with the greater good being for the club, which is Manchester United. His statement was, nobody is bigger than the club. Hair dryers will fly, boots will fly, nobody is bigger than the club. Not Beckham, not Ronaldo, not Cantona, nobody is bigger than the club. But apparently, the club is smaller than the board and Ed Woodward, because the priorities of the club is not put first. The priority of their pockets are. The priority of profits for them are put before the growth mentality of the club and the culture, and that is very sad for me. And we can see it; it's evident. I mean, if you look at the transfers that actually made sense, the only thing that made sense in the last 3 or 4 years was Bruno Fernandes, because we could see we needed a central attacking midfielder desperately. And at the time when we bought him, we were really under the impression Pogba was going to get out of here, and now he's here because no one can afford him. Nonetheless, we're seeing a partnership build up there. However, we got Wan-Bissaka, which was a good signing. Other than that, the Harry Maguire signing didn't make sense. The Daniel James signing didn't make sense. It's just, the list just goes on. Sanchez didn't make sense. Why did we buy Sanchez? Why did we get him in there? Why did we buy Lukaku? Why are we buying these players that don't make sense, that clearly don't have that Man United ethos built into them? I mean, you can take Bruno Fernandes' attitude straight out of him, and it mirrors what Keane was doing for us. That badass guy on the field, bossing people around, telling everybody, pull up your socks, get your ass in gear. I might not be the number one player here, but I'm not going to let you slack, because you, like everybody else, belong to this team. And that's exactly what we needed. So why is Harry Maguire the captain? If he can't even open his mouth and hit someone out, why? Take someone else out that is coming directly. I'm just so frustrated. Every time I see these highlights of the Brighton game and how many times we hit the upright. I mean, that game did two things. It exposed our defense, and it gave Ed Woodward the idea that the 3 signings he actually signed was the 2 uprights and the crossbar. And they now work for him, and they're going to keep out, because De Gea couldn't keep the ball out, because the defense couldn't keep the ball out. And if you look at the amount of times that Brighton hit those uprights and crossbars, for us to have almost lost 7-2 or 7-3 to Brighton is freaking unacceptable. Because that's what was the clear indication. We had to get away with a crazy handball that altered the rules of the game almost. Unacceptable. Unacceptable, and for me, it is not where United should be. And the sad thing of all is we're gonna watch them play every week in, week out, regardless who they're gonna play, whether it's gonna be Kaiser Chiefs, whether it's gonna be Bayern Munich. We're gonna sit and we're gonna cheer and we're gonna shout and we're gonna win, or hope we're gonna win, because that's who we are. We're fans, we're emotional, and we have the right to be emotional. But it's just so disconcerting, man, when you can't see the direction in which your team is going to go. And not only is other teams, rival teams, making great successes, but we are moving backward in this whole equation. When we signed Bruno in January, we closed the gap on them maybe by 5 to 10%. 5 to 10% is what we closed the gap on our rivals when we signed Bruno. Do you think signing Van der Beek did anything? No. That Brasse went out there and bought 3 players and knocked us out of the park. Like. It was just absolutely crazy when you think the small investments that we're making. I mean, we're making 2 signings and then we spent 100 million. They make 5 signings and they spend 100 million. Who's the joke in this equation? Yeah, clearly the freaking negotiators and Ed would do it. Like, but yet they sit there with all the decision power and the deciding power about who's supposed to come in and who's supposed to leave. And that just does, for me, it's not fair. Like. And if you look at the rest of it, I mean, I'm sure when you hear room for me now, listening to the fact that we might sign Ousmane Dembele, realizing we signed Sanchez, regretfully accepting the fact that we got Falcao. You know, it's history and patterns like that make me scared that we're gonna actually sign Dembele. A 23-year-old bro who's hardly played soccer in the last 2 years of his life. I say soccer because that's the only thing the Americans understand. If I say football, they put pants on their shoulders. Dumbasses! Like, oh, so frustrating. And the thing is, at the end of the day, who are the people that's going to suffer? The people that's going to suffer are those good, great potential players within United's team that are hungry to succeed, man. People like Greenwood, Rashford, Marshall, Bruno, like McTominay, Fred, Wan-Bissaka. These guys are so talented, man. They have so much to offer. We can go so far, like. If we just sign the correct place, if we sign with integrity, if we sign with the intention of growth. For me, if I sit here now, I say, you know, for me, and now I was debating with El Faccio for the past couple of days. For me, the next signing should not be like if they must come out tomorrow, if United must come out tomorrow and make a statement that says, you know what, we're not going to sign Jadon Sancho. We're rather going to sit back, sign a director of football, and let him make the decisions for the club. I'll be so happy. Like, give the guy 100 million, 150 million. At least we know the person making the decision has got a football mind and the club at their best interest, like, as their best interest, or whatever the statement is. But at the rate we're going, we're not going to sign Jadon Sancho now. Then come January, we're going to make some crazy signing to fill a patch again because the fans are demanding or rioting in front of Old Trafford, and now they feel they must do something quickly so that they can patch it, because that's what they did with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. When the fans were screaming in the stadium over there, they want Mourinho out because he's not playing the football that we know and expect from a Manchester United team. They got rid of him and they filled the gap with quickly. Get Ollie in, because they knew we wouldn't go after Ollie. They knew we wouldn't go after a club legend. We wouldn't want to criticize him. But even with Ollie there, all we did was strike another rife in the faction of the United fan base. Now you have a fan base battling each other again, divided, you know, who's Ollie in and who's Ollie out. It's unfair. We've been playing like puppets there by the bloody board and we don't even realize it. The strongest thing and the best thing we can do is stand together as a fan club, and the saddest thing is we can't even do that because we're worried about who likes Marshall and who doesn't, and who's Ollie in and who's Ollie out, and we're missing the whole freaking point that at the end of the day, we are losing our football club. We will still watch Man United play even if they're playing in the championship. That's the saddest thing. And maybe it's going to take that for them to sell the club and then have it being bought over by some Chinese tyrants or Arab oil owners, and then we finally see the rise of United again. But at the moment, it's going to be people like Rashford that's going to suffer, Greenwood that's going to suffer, Bruno Fernandes that's going to suffer, because they're going to give their all and they're going to get ripped apart every week. And it's in no way the type of football that we want, nor is it the type of football we should play. And you know, no, it's difficult for me to. I don't want to close the show on negativity, man. I want to look at the good things in it also, like the fact that we are still in a transition period. Like, we are still at the point where we can consider ourselves experimental, and I'm hoping deeply that it is, and we are doing that. I'm hoping deeply that this is a phase and there is a plan, because I'm a romantic, I'm a hopeless romantic, and I love this club so much that for us to come in at the end of this window, I really hope we do. Maybe I'll be happy if we sign Sancho. I'm not going to be sad. I'm going to back the guy. I'm going to say all of the best. Bring your skill and make our team better. But for me, at the end of the day, regardless of all these setbacks, we have to acknowledge the fact that we have a lot of hopes, high hopes for this season. And I do feel that the stars of our team are going to take us through. We're not going to finish in the bottom 10, but we're going to look forward to seeing Marshall play and put in hat-tricks. And we're going to sing when Marshall scores. We didn't waste 50 million. Rashford's going to get on his best again. We saw glimpses of that. Bruno's going to get at his best, and maybe within the next club, that's what Scully was saying. He feels that in the next couple of games, we're going to be hitting our stride, and we will be showing people what we're capable of doing. And with the addition of Van der Beek to the bench, gives us a little bit of a stronger bench, and we're hoping to move forward from there. And maybe it is so. I do hope so. I just think we must maybe leave Maguire in Greece. And you know what? We can rather bring back Lucas Radebe. Put him in the team. At the great old age of 30 million years old. So yeah, that's what I think. I think for me, closing off, a couple of things I want to also mention is this year we've got an on the bench fantasy football league. I'm going to drop the link to that in the comment section below on YouTube. Like and share, join the club, join the league. It's great. I mean, at the end of it, there's going to be a nice prize for whoever's the winner. I can't manipulate the points. I scored 72 points this week, so it was quite an achievement. Nonetheless, there's also quite a few competitions coming up for this season, just to keep things interesting. So keep your eyes out for that. But up until then, guys, like and share this page. And if you have not yet, hit the subscribe button down below and the bell on the other side, so you get notified when we next release On the Bench. Thank you very much. See you soon.
Hey!